It feels good to be back in the studio. I've been out for a long time. When I came back, my Facebook was just exploded with messages and stuff. And I've got two guests today, actually. I've got Aaron Bilbrey. He's a normal on this show so far. He's been in the first two. And then I've got Ben. He'll be in a second. He's not here yet. Me and Ben saw Oz. Aaron saw Dead Man Down. And we're going to go ahead and get started. And Aaron is going to tell us what he thought about Dead Man Down. He's going to give us the rundown of what it's about, and then give a score. Here you go, Aaron.
Basically, Dead Man Down was directed by the same man who did the original Swedish miniseries, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. It stars Colin Farrell and Mimi Rapace and Terrence Howard. Basically, the plot, I guess, more simplified, is, because it's a very convoluted plot at times, it's basically about Colin Farrell, who is a gang member who wants to take out revenge between these two gangs that murdered his wife and child. They believe him to be dead, and along the way he meets Mimi Rapace, who's his neighbor, and she's scarred from a truck incident, like a car accident, and she's trying to get him along the way. She's trying to get him to kill this man that did it, and he doesn't want to. He's trying to, so the movie has all these undertones of revenge, and it's really more. Going into it,
what do you think? But before you watched it, what was in your mind? What were you expect?
I had a lot of thoughts because I know that a lot of people really didn't like it. I know Cinema Snob was kind of indifferent to it. He said one thing. Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 38%, and watching this movie, I really didn't feel it deserved that low. I felt it deserved a lot more. Yes, I understand where people you can it kind of falls into the trap that Killing Them Softly fell into, where it was convoluted, but it was nowhere near as convoluted as Killing Them Softly, not by a long shot. I thought it was way more interesting than Killing Them Softly, and that was a good movie.
It's one of those movies that warrants a rewatch.
It does.
Softly, has a lot more layers than you think it does.
It's a
message for them.
This actually, to me, was a lot more straightforward than Killing Them Softly was. It didn't require as much brain power, but that's not the bad thing. Honestly, it had a lot of nice undertones of questioning morality as far as revenge goes. He's trying to tell her, you don't want to do this. You'll scar yourself again if you try to kill him. It's just I believe he's a hitman. They never really. One thing I don't like is that they never really kind of made clear as to what he was. I guess he was just some regular guy who came over from Albania, from Hungary, with his wife and child, and these two gangs took them out without knowing it was him. So he's kind of a mystery man. I like it, but honestly, I actually really liked it. I don't know where all the hate's coming from, and maybe I can understand.
Did you like it? You're adding the R word in that. You're going really liked it instead of just liked it.
I don't know if it's something I'd watch again. I'd probably watch it before I watched Jack the Giant Slayer again, just because Jack the Giant Slayer was a good piece of escapism just once. That's it. This movie actually kind of required you to think a bit, but in a good way.
And you texted me during the movie and said the cinematography.
Oh yeah, the cinematography. Like, what I love about Niles, the man who directed this and the Dragon Tattoo series, he really is. He's really good behind the camera and knows where to point it for good cinematography. It's well shot. I believe the acting is probably the best part of the movie. The actors were all really good. I felt that no one was phoning it in, and I love Mimi Rapace and Colin Farrell already. So, I do like Mimi Rapace, even though my infamous hate for Prometheus, it wasn't her fault. But anyway.
So you really liked it?
Yeah, I really liked it.
I can tell from the trailer the film had at least one thing going for it, and that was the cinematography. Yeah, I watched it and I was like, this looks great.
It's well shot. I was impressed with the quality. I love this. There were a lot of shots of the city that I liked, and I'm kind of a sucker for good scenery, and that's what the movie had a lot of, and I liked it. I guess it is convoluted and sort of confusing at times, but overall, if you're looking for a good neo, I don't like going as far to call it a revenge film. It sort of is, but it sort of isn't. At times, it seems like it's almost a romance between the two. It crosses a lot of lines, but I think the best way I could put it is kind of a neo-noir crime thriller. Yes, it has hints of revenge in it, and that's mostly what it is, but it has hints of noir, and if you're not familiar with that, it's this really dark setting and dark pacing of a crime thriller movie, and I loved it. I'm really into that. Like Sin City is a straight noir. This is kind of a neo-noir where it's not black and white, and it doesn't have these like dudes in trench coats, but I know I'm generalizing noir, but I really enjoyed it. It was kind of right up my alley. I love a really good cerebral thriller. And there were moments of big dumb fun at times, but not too much, just enough to where it was really cool. So,
So
my final...
now's the time. What do you give it out of 5?
Out of 5, I gotta go, this is the part I haven't thought of, really. I can't...
You get it to 4?
I can't quite. I don't like doing this. I really shouldn't do this, and I know I'm breaking my rule. But I'm going to say 3.8.
You're going with 3.8. Can't get it to 4.
That's close, though.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out...
I almost want to get it to 4. I really did love it. Not love it, but I really liked it.
You added the R in there. You really liked it.
That's not to say I loved it to death. And it's not a movie that if you're...
Good for matinee price.
Good for matinee. Honestly, I wouldn't have been cheated if I paid full price for it. I would have been just as pleased. I actually really enjoyed it. So go out and see Dead Men Down if you're looking for a good crime movie.
You're sticking with 3.8.
Don't believe the hype.
So you're sticking with 3.8 on this one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ben's here. Me and Ben saw Oz. Is it the Great and the Powerful? Ben, he saw Alice in Wonderland more than I have. I've seen it once when it first came out. So and by the way, Aaron, you haven't seen this, but you can go ahead and you can butt in whenever you want if you have a question or anything.
Okay.
Going into it, I didn't really like it. Like looking at the trailers, I was expecting an Alice in Wonderland-esque type movie. I was expecting them to take the Wizard of Oz story and just make it this weird, pretentious, dark film. And I'm happy to say that they did not do that.
Really?
And I liked it.
Wow.
What do you think of it?
Yeah, I liked it really good. I didn't like it as much Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, I asked him that. I was like, which one better? Which one's better, Alice in Wonderland or Oz? He said Alice in Wonderland. I was like, oh. And you said you like Johnny Depp better than you did when they needed James Franco.
Yeah, Johnny Depp, I feel like he would have been better playing that role because, he's got more of a mystic kind of attitude towards him and everything.
I gotcha. Sam Raimi is directing it. He directed the 3 Spider-Man films. And I'm not a big fan of the Spider-Man trilogy. But I think he did awesome. I thought the best thing by far going for this film is the visuals. What do you think? What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
The visuals. And the number one thing that caught me, that drew me in, is I really felt like I was there in Oz as they were showing, like, the flowers blooming and the little creatures flying around, and I like James Franco. So overall I really liked it a lot more than I thought.
This is a big shocker. I was really surprised. I was expecting you to go into just it's just lackluster.
Yeah.
I don't care about it.
No,
Because
I actually enjoyed it more so than Ben did, I think.
Yeah, going into it, I feel like it was kind of slow, like reaching towards the climax. It's kind of, and like you said in the movie, I was get to the point where I was getting really bored.
Yeah, there's a point in the movie where, and I think you'll notice this too if you watch it, Aaron. There's a point in the movie where they're tucking the little glass doll into bed, and at that point I was like, man, things are slowing down, and I'm kind of nodding off, not literally, but I'm kind of just straying away and not really caring that much anymore. But right after that point, things start picking up. They have a plan to fight against the army of what's it called? What's her name?
Wicked Witch.
The Wicked Witch and her little army she's got going on. The plot is about James Franco. He's a magician, and at this little town he's got going on. And I have to talk about the beginning too. Right when it started, I had problems with it. But he's this little magician, and a tornado comes, sweeps him away, and he's in Oz. And they say, the prophecy says that a wizard will come, named after our land, Oz. And that is his name. His name is Oz. And so he wants to save. It's pretty cliche, but he just wants to save everybody.
I've heard that it's the formulaic. I'm not trying to butt in, but I've heard it's the formulaic guy comes in as a fraud. Everyone thinks he's bigger than what he really is. So now he's got to really?
No. When he goes in, people actually believe in him. No, when he gets there, when he gets to Oz, they're like, oh, well, finally, we have our wizard. They're not like...
No, that's what people build him up to be much better than he really is. Because all he is basically a comment. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It follows the basic formula of this dude comes in who's not really as big as they think he is.
While the cliche is pretty cliche. While the plot... I was going to say while the cliche is the plot. While the plot is cliche, I think the execution of the way things were handled
You can have something that's derivative and still have it work well. Like How to Train Your Dragon is full of stuff like that. Like the moping sour period between two good characters because there was a misunderstanding. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
At the middle of every movie, there's always some big moping period where over like some misunderstandings. Like, well, that person lied to me. You know? Like, that can be handled well though.
And it was, I think.
Coming from.
So Ben, are you on the I like it, I didn't like it, it's okay, or I really liked it? What
I liked it. I didn't really like it, but I liked it.
You liked it with Alice in Wonderland. You really liked it as well.
Yeah,
you liked
I
really liked it. And Oz, it's kind of a step down for you. For me, it's a step up, and I'm glad because we're mixing it up a little bit. He likes Alice in Wonderland better. I liked Oz a little better because
I do.
What? You feel left out?
Because I never saw. I mean, I saw Alice in Wonderland.
I think Alice in Wonderland was just so silly.
That's just my opinion. I just felt it was very, very silly. But I'm not knocking Ben over here. I understand.
No,
I understand. It's my least favorite Tim Burton movie, but that's not really.
No,
well, actually,
I'm gonna have to go with
Batman Returns. Never mind.
I'm either gonna go with Batman Returns or Dark Shadows on that one.
You saw Dark Shadow?
I saw Dark Shadow. Don't.
Batman Returns is awful.
Yeah. So, Ben, you're on the level of I liked it. Tell me what you had problems with.
Just like I said, how boring it was. I was really bored until it got to the climax. Yeah.
But you liked the visuals and all that?
Oh yeah, they were phenomenal.
They were. And that's kind of a given going into it. I want to address a few things. In the very beginning, in the first 30 minutes, not even 30 minutes, 20 minutes.
I just thought his acting was bad. In the beginning.
James Franco?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I could see where you thought that because James Franco in the beginning, he's over dramatic because he's a magician. He's a con man. He's overdoing it with his magic and stuff. And I think they did that on purpose. But I don't know. After that, I thought he was fine. But what I wanted to get to was they started throwing characters at you in the beginning that you just don't know who they were. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that lady came to the door and knocked, and he's like, "Who is this?"
Yeah, she
came. Didn't say her name, did it?
No, I don't think so. She walks in and they kiss, and she says she's getting married, and then she kind of leaves. And I was like, well, maybe they'll tell us who that is at the end or whatever. They never got back to her. And then no, they never paid it off. We were just like, who is this person? She comes in, and then also I don't know if you noticed this, but the big guy that wanted to hurt him and kill him in the beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Was that? I started thinking about it because that bugged me throughout the movie. I was like, who was that guy? Why were they attacking him? Because what happens is this little girl believes that he's magic, and she's like, will you make me walk again? And he's like, I can't do that. And then they all start throwing food at him and whatever. He gets off stage, and then he meets this girl that we have no idea who she is, and then this man just storms through the building, and he's like, he wants to kill him. And so what I thought was maybe he was the dad of the little girl.
I think what it was, because you know how you give those little boxes to the women. He had like tons of them. Did a lot of women. I think what it was that big man's like wife or girlfriend or something. He gave one to her, and she showed it to him because he crushed it and he got all mad and started.
Oh, so he got jealous.
Yeah. That's what
okay, yeah, that makes more sense because I saw him crush the box. I got you now. I know you're like, what? What's going on?
You're just in my world.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're on point with that, but the woman I'm still.
Oh yeah, I have no clue.
I don't know, but once he leaves that Kansas, he's in Kansas. Once he leaves, everything starts picking up from there. I thought. What do you think? What do you like better, the first act or the second act? What do you think?
Second act.
Second act.
There are generally 3 acts to every movie.
I do too.
There are generally 3 acts to every movie. I feel like.
Oh, I got you. Like the beginning, then the middle, and then the end. Okay, I was doing like the 2 halves.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, the first half's like in black and white. It's like
no, the first half has the black and white small screen, but the first act is like the first half of the movie. It includes that, and then it's the first half. I believe was the little black and white segment, and then it was him learning about Oz and stuff like that, meeting the people. Then after, I think the second half begins whenever they start planning how they're gonna attack. You know what I mean? Yeah. And another problem I had was in the beginning after the black and white part. When he meets the girl for the first time, Mila Kunis, Macaulay Culkin's ex-wife. He meets her and he's like, "Where am I?" She's like, "You're in Oz." And then he doesn't ask any other questions after that. Like, is this a different planet? Where am I? He just he kind of just accepts it. Okay, I'm in Oz.
I guess he just kind of assumed that it's a different land, like a different country or something. I guess. That's not that what it is?
Yeah, all they said was, he's like, yeah, from Kansas, and they're like, oh, you've traveled a far way, and all he was is in a tornado, you know?
Yeah, like, do they know what Kansas is? Or is Oz on Earth?
Yeah. There's stuff like that you could ask.
And also, I wanted to point this out. I thought I would forget this in the movies, but I watched Planet of the Apes this past week, the original.
It's a good movie.
And if you saw my written review for it, I brought up the whole, and a lot of people have been talking about this as well who have seen Planet of the Apes. What's his name? Charlton Heston. When he arrives on, well, what he thinks is a different planet, the apes are speaking English.
Yeah.
And he assumes that he's not on Earth anymore. So, what led him to believe that he's not on Earth anymore? You know, that all the apes are talking in English. He knows 2,000 years have passed. I would assume I'm on Earth if the apes are speaking English, and that's what happens in Oz. You know, he gets there. That's nitpicking, though. He gets there. Yeah. They're speaking English. I would have raised more questions to why I'm there, who are you, and what's going on. You know, I think he just kind of accepts.
That's a valid. I mean, that's a valid nitpick. Though.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of like I'm not going to sit way down away. That is true. You got to ask questions again. But then again, you kind of can't let it get.
It bothered me in Planet of the Apes. I was like, this is a classic movie, but I have to take away points for this because, you know, but outstanding film. But back to Oz. Those were my main problems with it. Now, what I loved was how they fought the army. You know, how he introduces his invention. Well, not really invention.
The projector.
Yeah. Spoiler. Not really. We won't go into much spoilers, but he does a certain thing with a projector, and people in Oz have no idea what videos are.
Technology or anything.
Yeah, technology.
They're like, what's fireworks?
Yeah, they didn't know what fireworks were. And all this stuff comes back at the end, and I think it was very triumphant, and I thought the ending was so good. And I agree the second half of the film was better than the first, because I had more problems with the first, but as it kept going, those kind of just went away, and I enjoyed the film.
Good job, Sam Raimi.
Yeah, definitely a comeback since Spider-Man 3. Direction-wise, it was great. Yeah, what else has he made?
He made Drag Me to Hell. So he's made stuff between Spider-Man and Davis.
So
let's hope your Evil Dead. Let's hope your Evil Dead legacy doesn't get tarnished. Yay!
All right, for you, Ben. Well, out of 5, what do you give it?
Giving Alice in Wonderland a 4.
A 4?
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 3.5.
Oh, a 3.5. You mean, you're giving Alice in Wonderland? Did I say Alice in Wonderland?
No, I'm saying I give that a 4 and a step down.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what?
I thought I said Alice. Oops. Okay, so you're giving Oz a 3.5, Alice in Wonderland 4. Wait. 4, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. I'm still, like, freaking out, because before this, we just had major panic going on, and I'm trying to cool down a little bit. It's hard to score for me. I liked it, but I can get it. I think I'm going to get it to a 4. I feel I can't get it higher than a 4 because I did have problems with it.
You have to let certain nitpicks go.
It is cheesy at points. The dialogue seemed fine to me, but there were some little things going on. Favorite character? Who's your favorite character in the film? Because I loved the side characters in this film. That was probably one of my favorite parts.
My favorite character is Monkey, no doubt.
I have to agree. The monkey was great. But the thing is he kind of just disappears towards the middle of the film, and I'm just like, where did he go? And then he comes back at the end. But it was a tie. It was almost a tie between the monkey and the little black midget. I thought he was funny. And the little girl, you know, I thought she brought a lot of emotional value to the film. And I thought
the doll was the best part.
The doll is great. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The glass doll that he meets after the whole teapot town is completely wrecked. Her legs are broken off, and he takes out the glue and puts her legs back on. I thought she was great, but I'm gonna have to go with the monkey. He was so funny. He had a great comedic relief to the film. And for a score, I'm gonna just stay at a solid 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. Yeah.
Wow.
I
am shocked.
Beforehand, I was thinking 2.5, maybe 3, but now I'm just like, this is so much better than I thought, and it makes me really happy.
Wow.
I was smiling away as they were showing when you first see Oz, he gets in Oz and you see the flowers bloom and everything is so bright, and I just love the visuals.
I'm excited. I'm ready to go see this now. You've been talking about it.
If the visuals weren't as good as they were, probably 3.5.
The visuals were big. See, that's what a lot of stuff seems.
Probably 3 out of 5. And the visuals were so great.
I feel bad for breaking my rule of mine.
I absolutely, I can't say I loved it. I really, really liked it. I'll give it 2 reallys. Really,
yeah.
I really, really liked
That's good.
it.
That's good. I like it.
But that wraps up the weekend movies. Dead Man Down and Oz. I think that's all that came out, wasn't it?
It's not. Snitch came out.
No, Snitch came out like 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think that's it.
It was like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It was. I'm trying to think of what else came out this week.
This weekend, I think those were the two main ones.
Those were the two main ones.
So Dead Man Down, Aaron gives 3.8 out of 5.
I'm gonna do this, and I know it's kind of sounds. You're gonna be like, why are you changing? I'm gonna give it 4.
You're gonna make it to 4?
Yeah, I can get it to 4.
Squeeze your way there. 3.8. We'll just say 3.8 to 4. It'll change every now and then. You'll go home and think about it and be like, well, I didn't think about that. Maybe I should have gone lower. So maybe you're just fluctuating right now.
It's hard for me to
He doesn't
score.
know it. He's drunk. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. No, he's 3.8 to 4. I know what you mean. Ben gave Oz 3.5 out of 5. I gave Oz 4 out of 5. Great weekend. I'm very pleased. I'm glad I watched it, and I'm glad we have Ben here. Now, what I want to get into is what was the next thing on the list.
You wanted to do movie news real quick?
Oh, movie news. I want to touch on that very little. I want to talk to you about 2 things mainly.
Sure.
The Justice League. We're gonna get. Apparently, it was rumored that the Dark Knight Batman is going to be in Justice League. What do you think about that? Have you seen The Dark Knight, Ben?
No. Trilogy.
You haven't seen it?
I've seen the first one.
Batman Begins?
Oh gosh, watch the whole thing, man.
Watch the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, keep going.
Alright, anyway. I honestly am not sure, like, if, people out there know I'm a big comic book reader. Like, I try not to put too much stock in the movies, although I do love the Dark Knight trilogy, so that it does involve one of my favorite series of movies. So, honestly, I feel like they're trying to do a last-ditch effort, like, they're trying to pull a last-minute Avengers, sort of.
Yeah.
Like, with the Man of Steel, they got the Man of Steel coming out. They have a Green Lantern movie, all that. I doubt they're going to try to tie it in with that. But they got the Man of Steel movie coming out this year. I'm not sure how I feel about it working with the Justice League movie, because in Dark Knight Rises, spoilers, people, Bruce Wayne is supposedly gone. He's not Batman anymore. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character is Batman.
Yeah.
So, to me, I don't know how they're going to work that in. Maybe they're just going to... they're not going to retcon it, so I don't know what they're going to do with it. Now, I've heard that Christopher Nolan is tied to the project.
Yeah, I think he's the producer.
I'm somewhat excited about that. That gives me sort of hope.
Here is why I am completely off board for this.
Off board?
Off board. I'm not for this at all, because the Dark Knight, Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy is dark. It's gritty. And if you add it to the Justice League, we've got like levels of science fiction in this film. You know what I mean? We've got like I heard that
Martian Manhunter.
I heard that Justice League, if it is going to be a real movie, that we're going to have a lot of science fiction type things in this. We've got Aquaman, we've got all this stuff, and you tie in this realistic story with Batman, and it's not going to mix.
Yeah, I agree. Really, I don't feel like it would. You're right. I never really gave my opinion on that. I just kind of said I don't feel like it'll work because the Batman series is just too grounded in reality, and when something is grounded in reality that much, it just can't really work with this thing where it's got to be very outlandish. You got an Amazon like Wonder Woman. You have a man from another planet with Superman. You got Green Lantern. You got Aquaman. You got Martian Manhunter. All these things. I guess you could find some of them believable in the Batman universe. Some of them.
I got you.
But it's really hard. It's really, really difficult to fit something like that. So I don't feel like they should do it. But although I'm excited to see the Justice League movie, I would like to see it. I hope they don't rush it just because the Avengers was successful and they want to make another supergroup movie. But as a big fan of comic books and superheroes in general, I can't wait to see it. I just hope they don't try to do the Dark Knight into it because I don't want that series to be untouched. I just want that series to be done. I have some of my favorite movies are in it. Just 3 movies.
It is good.
That's fine by me.
Now, I'm going to get a caller in soon, Cameron. He's going to call in and ask a question for either Ben, me, or you, or probably all of us to talk about discussion. He'll be calling up here in a minute, and and when he does call, I will drop whatever we're doing and talk to him. But yeah, I think we're on the same board. Ben's not a big movie guy, but he's one of my close buddies, so I got him to see Oz with me. Have you seen The Avengers?
Oh yeah, I love it.
You saw The Avengers, and
I love The Avengers.
I probably get a 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Wow.
What do you think about a sequel? Or would you be on board for that? Do you think I should just leave it alone? What do you think?
I think it'd be good.
I agree. I think we can make it a good, solid, fun trilogy.
I would love to see a great Avengers trilogy. You know what I mean? I'm not going to geek out over comic books that much, but I've been hearing rumors of people adding more Avengers into the. Now I don't want them to add too many because you've already got a lot. You've already got a lot of characters as it is. But I've been hearing rumors that they're going to maybe fight Thanos in the next one, which is a huge fight between the Avengers and this practically a god. And I would love to see it. I would love to see them add Vision. I would love to see them add, heck, Spider-Man, but I doubt they'd do that. But I'm excited.
We have got a caller on the phone, and we've been talking about movie news, Cameron. This is my buddy Cameron. He's a close buddy of mine. He watches movies, and he's got a question for us on the phone right now. What do you got, Cameron?
Alright, with all the superhero movies coming out and being really successful and finally proving that superhero movies can be really great,
Right.
do you think that any superhero movie that comes out this year or next, such as, Man of Steel or Sin City 2, do you think any of those has a chance of, getting nominated for Best Picture or winning Best Picture?
Good question.
Tons of awards.
I can see
that
this year. I can see possibly Man of Steel out of all of them. What do you think, Aaron?
Me personally, I doubt Sin City very much, just because I'm sure that one will fly under the radar. Maybe, I'm not sure. That's my prediction.
I'm on the board.
Leaving that out of the equation, sort of. I believe that if there is one, if there are two, maybe Iron Man 3 and Man of Steel, because Iron Man 3 at least has, if they do get any nominations, it could be for Robert Downey Jr., because I just love his acting. But I think if there's a number one contender for that, it might be Man of Steel, because Amy Adams playing Lois Lane is one of the best ideas I've heard.
I think that Amy Adams is always great in this stuff I've seen. I'm gonna hop on with Man of Steel as well, because I think we could have maybe a best visuals nod, maybe best cinematography, not both of them, either one. And possibly best supporting actress for Amy Adams.
You got to look at it this way. You got to look at it in the fact that a lot of the people choosing for the Oscars are kind of prudish when it comes to sci-fi and action movies.
Right.
But you do have to remember, Heath Ledger did win an Oscar.
Yeah.
And that broke the mold. That did get something. And you have to think, Avengers got nominated for best visual effects. It didn't win, but
no.
So, I mean, there is a place in the Oscars for stuff like that. Now, if we're talking actor awards, that's always a little bit sketchier. But again, I use the Heath Ledger thing.
It could happen. It's very possible for this year.
What's his name?
This is Cameron.
Sorry, I forgot.
That's a very good question. But I think compared this year and next year, do you think, Aaron, that it's more likely to happen this year than next year, or next year?
I feel like if there's a chance of it this year, you have Iron Man 3 or Man of Steel to depend on. But I'm very pleased as a comic book fan to know that people are interested in seeing these movies. We could push for this, because I like the idea of a movie not being barred from Oscar nomination. That we can accept more movies instead of just big avant-garde like Lincoln or something like that.
I like it when that happens. I like whenever comic book films get nominated for Oscars.
I geeked out hard when Heath won his award posthumously. I geeked out because I was just like, the guy so deserved it. But
Cameron, what do you think? What are your thoughts over? Do you think it's possible? And if so, what movies could fall into the category of best visuals, best picture, whatever?
Well, like you said, Adam, Man of Steel is probably going to get it because it's Zack Snyder.
Right.
All of his films have really good visuals and whatnot. But there's one movie that I think I don't really know how it's going to do, and it's the Wolverine. It's the prequel to the X-Men movies with Hugh Jackman as the Wolverine again, and that might have a chance. That might have some sort of chance. I'm not entirely sure.
And I'm gonna think 300 really doesn't at all.
No.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think 300 will fall into any Oscar category.
Sin City has more of a chance.
Sin City does. Out of all the comic book films this year, I'm more worried for 300.
Yeah, that's the one I'm kind of like,
that could be good or it could be bad. I love the first one, but I don't know.
Although Sin City 2 does have Frank Miller, and does have no Quentin Tarantino in it.
Yeah.
Like, it has Frank Miller.
Yeah,
and
that brings up a lot of... That stirs up the pot a little bit with Sin City. Now we don't have Quentin Tarantino guest directing this film, and Frank Miller and Robert Rodriguez are kind of taking over.
Frank Miller can't direct for those of you out there who don't know, Frank Miller can't direct a movie to save his life. But Robert can if it's not a kid's movie. So I'm really kind of nervous, because Frank is just kind of there to say what's good, what was in the book and what's here. I think Robert should just be put more in charge of, because he can make a great action movie.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, to get back to it, with the Wolverine, maybe, but I really doubt it, just because that one is kind of. It always seems to me like Marvel gets kind of snubbed out of like stuff like that because people look at Marvel and go, oh, more cartoonish heroes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
But that's unfair because I think Hugh Jackman is great as Wolverine. There's not a perfect Wolverine out there, but sadly, your complaint might be falling on deaf ears there. But keep your fingers crossed for Man of Steel, buddy.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're all on the same page with that. I would ask Ben, but Ben isn't really strong in the comic book film area. But thanks for the question, Cameron. That was a really good question.
Definitely, I love that.
We'll get you back on the next one, buddy. We'll see you later. That was a great question. Now I want to get to our last our segment with Aaron wanting to talk about. He's got a little comic book segment he wants to do for us for a little bit. What? Oh, are we doing that on this one? Or the next one?
Oh, I thought we were just going to do the Would You Rather thing.
Okay, yeah, okay. We'll do that on the next one. Which he's got a little segment coming up that we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I'll let you do that next
We're
time.
going to get down to the very last thing and do Would You Rather.
Okay.
I've got one. How many do you have?
I had two, but I almost really don't feel like the first one. Because, okay, I'll spoil it. It was going to be Oz versus Alice because I didn't know if you were going to like Oz or not.
Oh, I think me and Ben kind of covered that ground.
Yeah, I know. So I just got one then because I came unprepared a little bit.
You go first.
This one is a comic book one, but this is one that I kind of thought was cool. It doesn't have anything to do with superheroes. It's Frank Miller on Frank Miller. 300 or Sin City.
Huh. Wow.
Good and good.
That is good. Give me what are your
Frank
thoughts
Miller.
first? What would you? You need to rewatch 300.
I feel like I can make a judgment. On it. I would much rather probably watch Sin City just because I love the story more. Don't get me wrong. I've read both Sin City, The Hard Goodbye, and 300. Love both of them. I love old Frank Miller. New stuff, not so much, obviously. But with 300, I gotta say the story was just a little bit more interesting. Although 300 was great, I really that's hard because I love both movies. But I gotta say, Sin City did have Jessica Alba in it, and I didn't enjoy her in that. But
you're going with Sin City?
Yeah, if I gotta say what was more memorable, Sin City just had so much style to it, and 300 did too. The cinematography in it was very unique. They both were really. But I liked how Sin City was just kind of this thing that kind of broke ground, completely black and white,
with some. There's red and then there's orange.
Tinges, that's what it's good about it though.
Yeah.
They added style to it. There were hints of red, and as a noir fan, I love that because real good noir does that, where they'll take black and white and stick hints of color everywhere.
Yeah.
For just stylistic purposes, and I like that. But there was also a really mostly good cast. You had Bruce Willis. You had Mickey Rourke, Jessica Alba. There were several other ones that I really loved, and Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino behind it.
All right, well, this is the first. I'm going to have to take a pass on your question. We'll come back to it after I've rewatched 300.
Really?
I've seen it once, and it was when it came back, which was a jillion years ago.
Yeah.
So we will come back to it. I promise we'll come back to it.
We'll discuss it more in depth.
We'll discuss it more.
You know what? Just to be fair, I will go on record and say I will go pass on it too. So I want to rewatch it again. So we'll do it. We'll save it for another day.
Discredit what we said. We'll watch 300 together, and then we'll come back and talk about our final answer.
Because you're right, it's been too long since I've seen 300.
All right.
So I will pass.
So we got Miller on Miller for my question. I've got Anderson on Anderson. We've got the two Paul Thomas Anderson films, There Will Be Blood and The Master. This has been in my head all day. I can't figure out which movie I'd rather see, There Will Be Blood or The Master.
I'll go first.
What are you gonna do?
Because I know you're dying to get it out of the way.
I can't get it out of the way. I just don't know. I can't figure out which film I'd rather watch.
I would. I would probably just jump into it. I would probably just jump into it. Yeah, I would probably just.
Yeah, like I said, you've got two DVDs. You got The Master and There Will Be Blood.
I would probably.
Which one would you watch? Not which one would you burn, return, drive. Which one would you watch? Which one would you put back on the shelf?
Oh, it's so hard, man. I love both movies so much. I guess if I gotta give an answer.
I'm like bracing myself.
I guess if I gotta give an answer, geez, I feel the tension in this room is.
And for the record, we both love
Yeah. This is not a thing where it's like they both suck. Obviously
they're both on one of the best films I've seen.
Ever.
There Will Be Blood was one of the best films of the decade.
Ever. Like for me, Man, that's tough. You pulled Anderson on Anderson, it's impossible.
Yeah.
I wish you would have said Punch Drunk Love and Derby Blood, because I can answer.
Oh, yeah.
Blood. Yeah, I love it easy.
Of course.
I love Punch Drunk Love, but Derby Blood's better. But, I guess if I gotta choose one, man, that you have to like write essays over the answer. That's so hard. You gotta write essays to answer the question. I guess I have to go with. I'm gonna be very controversial here and probably say The Master. I know that's really kind of crazy for me to say, and you probably are gonna be out. A lot of people out there.
People are gonna be like, "Well, Daniel Day-Lewis is
Daniel Day-Lewis," and don't get me wrong.
No. I disagree with that because we got Joaquin Phoenix, and you've got, in my opinion, you have such a stronger cast in The Master than you do in There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, and I know that I'm gonna get flamed for this, and I'm sorry, I really am. But it's not by much. Again, it's kind of like Sin City and 300, like Lancer with Sin City. It's not by much, but then again, that's disregarded. It's really, really not by much.
You're going with The Master.
I gotta go with The Master just because I love the
I don't know.
acting between the two of them.
I can't do it.
Like, the acting in that movie was just
you're over here in a corner.
I
I've got to get you to watch these films. You gotta check these movies out. These are wonderful. The Master, more so, is a character study. There Will Be Blood.
Now there, you can't really say that. As far as character study, I feel like There Will Be Blood is probably more.
I think they're both actually on the same level.
They're on the same level.
More so, The Master is a character study between two people, and There Will Be Blood is more of a character study of one person, Daniel Day-Lewis, Daniel Plainview. You know what I mean? It's more on There Will Be Blood, a character study of one person, while The Master is two people.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So, you're going with The Master.
It's so hard, man. I'm trying to think of which one. I feel like the cinematography in The Master was better. See, something about it.
I disagree. I think
you disagree?
There Will Be Blood cinematography is better.
I thought there were some gorgeous shots in The Master.
There is.
I know. Man, this is what I hate. Like, because I feel like I betrayed myself a little bit. I feel like it's tough though, man. I honestly don't know what.
I'm biting my nails on this one. I can't.
I feel like I'm going back on my word. I don't want to go back on my word because I'm straddling the line. Like, there's a line, and I got one foot on the other. I got one foot on both sides. Like, it's so tough.
Man, if I was handed both DVDs and someone said, watch one of them, put the other one up on a shelf, I would probably watch. I just can't do it, but I have to. We already passed on the other one. I can't pass on this one.
Yeah.
I would not much other. By a hair between There Will Be Blood and The Master. I would rather watch There Will Be Blood.
Really? Wow.
It's divided. Do you want to see The Master? I'd watch There Will Be Blood.
I feel really bad. Like, I feel like this is going to make enemies out of a lot of people. This is going to start a war, I'm sure.
Oh my god.
The film talk.
It is ridiculous. I'm going to have to say There Will Be Blood because it has everything that The Master has, but I think it's got a little bit more. I think I cared about the relationship between Lancaster Dodd and Freddie Quill. I cared about their relationship, but I found myself caring more between Daniel Plainview and Eli.
Really?
Yeah. I was more excited to see the way, and also, I like the ending to There Will Be Blood more than I do The Master.
See, that's where I come down different. I'm not sure about the ending for There Will Be Blood.
Both films warrant 70 million rewatches to really comprehend what's going on.
Yeah, my tiny brain is probably not.
Your brain will explode during these films.
Yeah.
You'll have to go out and get a new one.
Yeah.
But both of these films are so complex, and they've got so many layers to them. They've got so much to it, and they're both one of my two favorites.
Two of my favorite movies.
Paul Thomas Anderson is a great example that we do have amazing film directors still today. He is a wonderful film director, and I cannot wait for Inherent Vice coming out next year.
Yes.
I heard Joaquin Phoenix is going to come back with Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yes.
Who knows?
Can't wait.
Man, it's been a hectic podcast.
Yeah.
We have edited. We had to redo this all over again. Aaron, you can go ahead and head out. Thanks for being on the show. We'll try and get you back again, and we'll see you later. I'll later. This was Ben. I gotta talk about one more thing before we head out.
Sure.
No. You can go. It doesn't involve you.
All right.
You can go ahead and leave.
See you guys.
One more thing I wanted to talk about before I head out was I'm so busy now with all the stuff I'm doing, and I'm looking for interns, non-paid interns to just sort of help me out, run my page. If I'm not available, you can sort of take over and you can spread the word and advertise. And it's not going to take a whole lot of work at all. It's just going to be minor things here and there. But I'm looking for interns to help me out. You know, this is a big job for one person. So I want you guys to help me out. Ben, I'm glad you made it on the show, man. You're going to have to come back and watch another movie with us.
All will be.
And good having you on the show, dude. Make sure you guys like this podcast and keep coming back every Monday and Tuesday for a weekly podcast. I'll see you guys later.